It was nice of you to come back in here, Moon.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
That man leaves 20 seconds before the music starts and disappears.
We were talking sports out there, man. What
You've been talking sports all morning with people.
All morning long.
Getting people's blood pressure up and everything.
Oh, some of them. Hey, a couple of them on purpose.
No, they're all on purpose. Trying to make Foot's head explode over there across the hall.
I tell you what, that's the easiest one. All right, now y'all all welcome. Moon Griffon Show, having more fun than you probably will ever know of, folks. Anyway, great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Attorney General Jeff Landry joined me. Jeff, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Moon.
How's it going?
Going wonderful. On my way into Baton Rouge.
Well, that was the toughest question I had for you today. How you doing? Hey, Jeff, the rumor was, and I want you to get this rumor out of, Al Sharpton is asking you to go protest Trump and Jeff Sessions. I just wanted to see if you were going to help him.
I'm going to help try to get Sessions confirmed.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You know, it's kind of crazy, though. There's a guy who's been up there 30 years. You never hear all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they nut up on him. And look, they blame Bush. Bush was going to be a racist. I remember the NAACP drug a noose behind a white truck because somebody had died while he was governor as a black guy. And by the way, they arrested 3 or 4 people. They got lifetime imprisonment, if not the death penalty, but that wasn't enough. So anyway, I did want your thoughts on that because you're in the same type business as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Moon, I think that what you see is a small, what I call a loudmouth minority of people, irrespective of their race. But I believe that many Americans out there are sick and tired of that. What they want to see is their government function. They want to see their quality of life improve. They want to see jobs come back to America. And I think, quite frankly, that's what ushered President-elect, soon-to-be President Trump into office.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's no doubt. But, you lost. This is amazing. You lost, and you're still protesting and bickering. It's amazing. They're saying that it's going to be an embarrassing low turnout for him. Most people are not even going with him on this as he tries to protest. I don't know. I think it's amazing that the left, all they ever throw up is race, and it's nothing to do with race. But yet that's like the argument on everything they lose on.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have learned and subscribed to the art of divide and conquer, and it's trying to put everybody in their own little bitty boxes. And when they divide everyone up, they have the ability to control the narrative. And I think that Americans, again, irrespective of their race, color, creed, are just tired of that. What they want is a country that functions outside of this divisiveness, where we divide everyone, where people claim that because I'm different, I get a different set of rules. It's just not the American way. And so, look, I think I look forward to Trump and them having a good run, and I think Americans as a whole are very optimistic.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jeff Landry, Attorney General for the great state of Louisiana. Jeff, let's go back to some of the stuff you've been doing. Of course, the press is popping. I know that's nothing new. Attorney General Jeff Landry slams Mitch Landry, says New Orleans more dangerous than Chicago. Well, we do have some problems down there. That's a fact.
Yeah, what's amazing to me, Moon, is that, you have all these media outlets in New Orleans, the largest metropolitan area in the state of Louisiana, a huge tourist hub, basically, a golden goose for the state of Louisiana. And yet they don't report the crime statistics in a way to let the rest of the state and the citizens in New Orleans know what's going on. Now, if you go on the street and you talk to citizens in New Orleans, none of them feel safe.
No.
Okay? And when you overlay the crime statistics in New Orleans, and you then place it in a per capita perspective, right?
Yeah.
Then it is absolutely twice as dangerous as Chicago.
Wow.
And I mean, and look, when you decide if you want to go somewhere, you base it upon the danger, the risk. And I would tell you that it's twice as risky to go to New Orleans than it is to go to Chicago.
But you see, the thing about it is you're just being real honest, and people don't like that. I guess they think you ought to shut up and look the other way like other attorney generals have done in the past.
Well, that's what they want. They want everyone to turn a blind eye while the crime epidemic sweeps the city, and it gets to a point where it becomes a tipping point, a breaking point. And then, of course, at that point in time, they'll blame somebody else, you know.
Yep.
And so all we did is recognize back in July, at a time when I could quote, the superintendent of police as saying we welcome the help, and we've worked with them. We've worked with LSP, Louisiana State Police. We've worked with our federal partners in trying to understand and evaluate what exactly is the problem and how can we be a part of the solution. And of course, for that, after the holidays, the mayor through the superintendent basically says, you don't belong and you don't have a right to be in the city. And it's disappointing. And of course, the press, the liberal press, basically wants to pile on to his bandwagon. And I ask them consistently, wait a minute, let's talk about the statistics. Let's talk about where we've been, and they say, well, the city claims that the New Orleans Police Department is less violent today because of the federal consent decree than it was in the past. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If the department should not be violent, period. But if the department becomes less violent and the city becomes more violent, that doesn't work either.
Yeah, I see your point. But Jeff, what my question to you is, what are they going to do down there? I mean, what can be done? Is there something the feds got to come in and be taken over? I mean, is there an answer for what's going on?
Yeah, there absolutely is an answer. It's called leadership. It's called recognizing the problem. It's first admitting that you have a problem, which is part of the problem. Okay, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to educate the public into recognizing that there is a problem, and then that should spur the leadership to do something about it. And it's going to take a multi-dimensional approach. You have law enforcement. It can't just be about presence. It's got to be about criminal intelligence. It's got to be about undercover work. It's got to be about targeting the most violent repeat offenders in the city. There's a prosecutorial component to it, of which I'm happy to say I partnered with Leon Canizera, the district attorney from Orleans, who is actually a real leader down there. He recognizes it. He understands the problem. We partner with Sheriff Gussman, who I'll tell you is stepping out and becoming a leader and recognizing that, we got to be able to put these bad guys away. And then there's some infrastructure components to it as well. And it's going to take it's going to take an OPD. It's going to take adjusting the consent decree, which I might add, Moon, when I started looking at this, let me tell you something that's interesting. So New Orleans is under a federal consent decree, which basically places a federal monitor who is supervised by a federal judge in charge of policing in Louisiana. Around the country, since 2010, so over the 8 years that President Obama was in office, 6 major cities have fallen under federal consent decree.
Mm-hmm.
All of those major cities had very liberal Democrat mayors who basically said, sure, you want to run the city? Go ahead and run it. And let me tell you the danger with that is that federal monitor wakes up one morning and says, you know what? I think the New Orleans Police Department needs to have brand new cars.
Yeah.
And he writes that instruction out, and that chief, and that may have to go get it. He doesn't care about how much tax money we have, whether or not they have the money to pay for it or not. He gets like this carte blanche approach to treat the city like there's an open-ended checkbook.
Yep.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I understand.
He piles on paperwork after paperwork. Look, 60 Minutes did a great piece on Chicago about 2 weeks ago. You should go back and look at it. And what you found was that the number of arrests, the quality of the arrests, all of those things come down because of the environment that is out there where law enforcement officers feel like they're the ones under attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. Jeff Landry, Attorney General, our special guest. So, Jeff, there's one thing you did mention, we mentioned in the past, was also sanctuary cities. I don't know if you know what Donald Trump's going to do about it, but I think cutting money would be one of the big things. Would that help some? Is that one of the problems? Is that some of the problem?
Absolutely. Look, last year, when many of the listeners out there helped us in making the calls, and we were unfortunate that it got bottled up in the Senate, but we all knew, those listeners out there, and me and you knew that we were on the right track. We had a gentleman come into the state, into the Capitol, and testify in front of the House Judiciary Committee by the name of Chris Kobach, who is actually right now Trump's senior policy advisor on immigration. I think that, and he was the one that helped us draft the bill that Valerie Hodges wrote and that she carried, that ultimately failed in the Senate. So understand that the same guy who helped us is now helping Trump. So I think you'll see a lot of similarities between what we attempted to do last year. Hopefully we'll get it done this year, and what'll be done at the federal level.
Okay. Well, I was hoping something would get done. I think it needs to be done, and they shouldn't be rewarded for doing the wrong thing. And I think that's the angle that you're on, is the angle I'm on, and it just doesn't make any sense to do what they're doing.
Well, it doesn't make any sense to basically allow people to break the law and then turn a blind eye, and then encourage them when you're breaking the law to come into your city and say, there's no consequence to that. I've always said that type of environment only creates basically makes a person who's out there in that city believe that he can break the law too. It's psychological in that it creates an environment under which more crime is plagued upon the citizens, just because people say, well, you invite people who are breaking the law anyhow. Why can't I go break the law either? You're going to confer greater rights on people who are breaking the law than they have on me. Why can't I go break the law? Yeah. And, of course, again, when you look at those cities who engage in sanctuary city policies, guess what, Moon? It's like magic. Their crime rates are up.
Yep. I figured it was part of it, as a percentage of it, and they're not doing a job in New Orleans. Jeff Landry, Attorney General of the great state of Louisiana. Jeff, thanks.
Thank you, Moon.
All right, man, we'll do it again. All right, got a quick break, 844-766-6607, Hickson has a hotline. You're listening to the fun-filled, lovable Moon Griffon Show. And I didn't even congratulate Clemson yet. Congratulations, Clemson. You Clemson fans like Brandon over here, we congratulate you.
Go Tigers.
I'm an SEC guy, so I go any SEC team I'd have pulled for. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'll give you the facts on that when we get back. We'll be back. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. If you'd like to be part of it, it's the Hickson Has It hotline, 844-766-6607. Hickson Has It hotline. Last night, great national championship game. If you were not, Brandon was pulling for Clemson, I was pulling for Alabama. If you were not a Clemson fan or against Alabama, I think most people would hate it on Alabama. But because I know Kathy Fuquay, that's all I keep getting from her. She's the biggest. She's the Tiger diehard. That's all I keep getting is hating on LSU. But I pull for SEC every time they get in a championship game. But Brandon, if you were not pulling against somebody or for somebody, you would have if you were just a football fan, you say, you know what, I don't care. I just want to watch the game. You got to watch 60 minutes of football because it took the whole 60 minutes to win.
That was the best national championship game I've seen since Texas beat USC in 2005.
And that was hard to beat that.
No, you're not going to beat that game.
I don't think so either.
This game came close. It was amazing.
Well, it had excitement both ways. What Saban has done in the last 8 years never been done in football. He played for 5 national championships and won 4. We may never see that again, Brandon. It's just not. Like, give you an example. I read a thing today where it was showing next year's big who to look at. Yeah. Alabama was number 1 again. Ohio State, Barrett's coming back. I didn't realize Barrett's coming back with a young team. That's going to be a good team. Clemson, they had at the bottom. They're losing Watson. Clemson, they lose 3 games next year. Yeah. And that's what I meant by a program that's built to stay. There's none. There's never been programs that are built to stay there forever. They're just not, except Nick Saban. And he's the only one that's been able to do it over 10 years. If you say he won 5 championships in 10 years, well, you really can't say it that way. He's been in Alabama 5. That'd be 40% of the championships that have been won in 10 years been his. Yeah. And 4 out the last 8, which is 50%. But the point being is, Clemson beat them. Let's just be blunt. Clemson beat them. I've heard some crazy stuff. Scarborough lost. Clemson lost a defensive player who was really good. Scarborough really hurt him.
Yeah.
Brandon, he hurt him, but that doesn't change what happened in the game. The game is the game. You can't turnovers are part of the game.
Yeah.
Clemson had 2. Alabama didn't take advantage of it. The great Cam Robinson from Ouachita Parish, who is a great player, okay, two bad penalties on the short drives that really hurt him. That guy's an All-American. I mean, he's great. He's going to play in the NFL. He's going to be a top he's going to be a first-round pick. And so, but that's part of the game. You can't say, oh, well, Cam didn't mean to do that. Let's put the ball back. Or, oh, I hit your player too hard. He's hurt. Sam Watkins, nobody got hit more than he did. Sean Watkins, nobody got hit more than that guy. He got crushed
on a couple of them. Oh, man.
A couple of times he got hit. I didn't think he was getting back up. But he got back up. They finished the job, and they beat Alabama. I mean, you just leave it where it is. It's a game. Alabama had the best team all year, but they didn't have the best team last night because if they would have held a trophy.
What we talked about yesterday, it comes down to in the trenches. And Clemson was able to start running the ball more and more as the game was going along, even out of that shotgun formation. They're able to start running the ball, and for me, those little runs in between the tackles where they could get a few yards up the gut, it helps to put your offense in better position. That's obviously not the reason that they won, but it's something you have to consider when you add it all up. But I was worried about that from the middle of the second quarter to the middle of the third, that's when Alabama was going to go off. And that's when Clemson all of a sudden seemed to figure it out. And from that point on, they dominated pretty much the rest of the game. Because remember, Alabama already had a couple touchdowns at that point, and then Clemson
but you had 7
spree.
possessions of 47 yards. You had 12 consecutive third downs to end the game where you didn't get a first down. I put that back to Scarborough being there. That would have helped him tremendously. He was just such a man. But, Brandon, you still got to play the game. You can't say,
they still had a 1,000-yard rusher backing him up.
Remember when Texas, McCoy gets hurt in the first quarter?
Oh, against Alabama.
Okay, well, they didn't say, okay, look, McCoy's hurt. Let's play the game in 2 weeks when he feels better. It doesn't go that way.
It don't go that way.
And the same thing with turnovers. If you throw a pick six, which, by the way, they didn't do it.
They almost did a fumble six, though.
Well, the fumble six, and he threw one across the middle that went right, and that was right before half. I thought, oh, my God. It was right before half, and it ricocheted off the guy's hands. But the point being is, it was 60 minutes. You had to play the whole 60 minutes. Clemson beat them. And the big thing was, because Alabama's offense stalled, 2 reasons. I think Scarborough, but number 2 is the defense. Give Clemson credit.
And we disagree on this. I think not having Lane Kiffin had a big impact, and you disagree with that.
I just don't. I just think that when you look at the number of points they scored and stuff I think if you had Scarborough, you're not going to stall down, and this is a moot point. But you didn't have him, and he really was the heart and soul of the running game. But Brandon, that's only opinion. We'll never know.
Yeah, I know.
Clemson's the champion.
They
are. I just thought that, look, Alabama's defense, everybody's laughing at the defense. Oh, they're not. But first of all, Watkins is the best player in the country. And number 2, they played 99 plays on defense. They're not stopping anybody. All right, we'll go. Take a break. We'll be back.
And I agree with the Clemson player.
That's because you won. Hi, y'all all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. By the way, I saw a headline, Clemson shocks Alabama. What a shock. How was it a shock? You win 26 games in a row. It's hard being at the top and staying up there, brother. It's hard. People don't understand. That's why I like Saban. And they don't understand what the man's accomplished. Just go to that level and then stay there. That's what nobody understands. We see LSU go up and have a couple of nice years. We see Clemson go up. We see Ohio State a couple of nice years. Think about what I'm telling you. On all these teams and all these Michigan, they were down for a long time. Here comes Harbaugh and brought them back up. And, that chance may be coming. But you see these teams, even under Penn State, when they had, I'm not even going to mention the coach's name because it's not important, but they used to go up and down and up and down and up and down. And that's always happened. So what you've seen is really a great job of because it takes 3 things, as I told Mr. Foote. There's 3 things you got to be able to do, and Dabo seems to be able to do this. Remember, this is 35 years since Clemson won the national championship. Brandon, when did LSU win their last one? 2007?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This is 2017.
Yeah.
And LSU is one of the best programs ever. They ain't won one in 10 years. They played in 1 championship in 10 years, and that was the game that Alabama beat them. But what I'm saying is it's so hard to get back to the game. Clemson had the right group of people, so did Alabama. That's why they were back-to-back.
Well, small correction, just so an LSU fan doesn't call in. 2007, they won their national championship. 2011 is when they lost to Alabama. So LSU's been twice. They won in 03. Mm-hmm. 4 years later, they lost won in 07. And 4 years later, they lost. They won in that little 4. So that means they ought to be playing in the championship. They should have been in 2015.
They should have been last year if you're going on a 4-year plan. So it's very hard to maintain that. Dabo, who now has a big, and by the way, I love that guy, and I love Clemson's program. How big is his bullseye now? Pretty big, huh? And you're not going to have the best player in the country. You're not going to have the 2 wide receivers and the tight end. They're all going pro. So now he's got to come up with a way, okay, how do I maintain? How do I get back? Because you remember, Alabama lost a lot last year. They start a lot of young people, and a freshman quarterback, all new running backs, Brandon. So they go from national championship, winning 26 games in a row, to back in the national championship game. That is special, okay? That is special. Clemson did it 2 years. What happens next year? Do they get back? Did they get back in there? So, I'm sorry, did I bump something?
Oh, just right there. There you go.
Okay. But, so, listen, I know some of you people are not football people, and that's fine. I like watching all this. I'm intrigued by sports, always have been.
I just think that people, though, that act like they're shocked by this victory by Clemson, they don't understand the fact that Clemson just played to the competition of their opponents. Get caught up on the Pittsburgh loss all you want, but if you look throughout their schedule, many times they played to the competition of their opponents, and they're one of the few teams that could do that with Alabama too.
They're good. They're real good. I mean, they are really good. You give them credit where credit's due. I'm just saying, when you look at programs, Clemson needs to enjoy this for a year. They are the champs to next year's crown unless they win it again. And that's just the way it is. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, they picked Brandon. I looked at a deal. Who's on top? Alabama. I know people are tired of hearing it. Then they had Ohio State. They didn't mention Clemson. At the bottom, it said Clemson's going to be rebuilding. I'm going, see, Saban didn't rebuild, he reloads. That's what teams have to do. Ohio State is another team's going to be good. Barrett comes back. I didn't even realize he was coming back.
Yeah.
So J.T. Barrett. Forever. And guess what? Youngest team in the country last year. So that's a team. Urban Myers knows what he's doing, too. A lot of great coaches out there. I just think what Saban's done has been an incredible run. You're not winning that thing every year, no matter what Kevin Foote says.
So one of our buddies that we talked to this morning said he'll pull for Alabama when they play ISIS.
Well, I hope so. But
other than that, no.
I done heard the people laughing. They love it that Alabama got beat. I'm sitting here going, where was your team at? Oh, that's right. It made a bowl with 4 losses and 3 losses and 2 losses and 5 losses. So it's just, I just kind of it gets comical with me. But Brandon, you know what I'm doing. And Brandon knows me enough now. He said, boy, you have more fun egging people on with the bowl. And it is. It's all fun to me.
You're trying to give poor Kevin a heart attack, man. He came in calm, relaxed, and I had a feeling he would react that way. And then all of a sudden, man, you set him off.
Did I pump him up or what?
No, you set him off.
He came in, he was all smiles. He wouldn't go say nothing.
Nuh-uh.
Until I brought up.
He wasn't going to gloat.
Man, I have got to quit enjoying life this much. I'm just telling y'all, it's just too much fun. It's way too much. Sports guy walked in this morning. Kevin Foote's been on program. He can get pumped up. Great guy. And he walked in smiling. He was, can't stand Alabama. I think Nick Saban's a horrible coach. And walked in, and I got him blowed up this morning with just one comment. It only took one comment to blow him up. By the way, folks, I'm no different than Kevin. Sometimes one comment can blow me up. So I'm not pointing fingers. I got a mirror at home. I can see the same person. All right. I haven't even got to the politics of all this stuff yet. Let's go to Peter in Crowley. How you doing, Peter?
Good, Moon. How's it going?
Man, Peter's going good.
Good. Listen, I'm sure y'all probably already mentioned this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know who was y'all know last time Clemson won the national championship, who was the offensive coordinator, huh?
You got to repeat. You're kind of breaking up on me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, y'all know the last time Clemson won the national championship, who the offensive coordinator was for him?
Who's that?
Nelson Stokely.
Whoa.
Oh, was he really? I didn't realize that.
Former Raging Cajuns head coach.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. 35 years ago. See how long it took for that program to get back on top? Well, actually, that guy was Clemson could have won it last year, too.
Okay. Help me out one more time. That mouse over there, you put it on just a level. There we go.
I don't know what happened over there, dude. All right, let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Rusty in New Iberia. Rusty, how you doing?
Good, Moon. How are you, bud?
I know some good people in New Iberia, and I know some crazy people, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And you're not. And you, hey, I know a good person, and I think's crazy.
Does the name start with a K and end with a Y?
Absolutely. She's giving me a heck of a time right now. She said, "I will gloat."
Well, look, I'm just going to tell you, I'm born and raised in Louisiana, but I'm a staunch Alabama fan, and that's a story for another day. But I heard you mention earlier that you were pulling for SEC over the Tigers, and somebody sent me something yesterday that was pretty funny. It said pulling for Alabama because they're in the SEC is like pulling for the devil because he's in the Bible.
Oh my God! And by the way, now I'm sure Kathy gonna text me now. That is awesome. That is see what I'm doing. I'm having fun with it. I mean, I got beat, but I didn't bet, by the way, Brandon. Yeah. I got beat just pulling for the SEC, but it could have been Auburn, it could have been Vanderbilt, it could have been Ole Miss, Kentucky. It didn't matter. I was gonna pull for the SEC team, but I tell you what, that's funny. You can't beat what he just said.
And obviously, Clemson represents the ACC. The ACC went 9-3 in these bowl games.
Yeah, they won a
lot. The new
games.
Kings, man.
I know, that's right. But
anyway, you got to give it to them. Those guys really put it out on the field and did an awesome job. So, as a college football fan, you couldn't ask for a better game.
No, see, that's what I'm saying. You could be pulling for Alabama and get beat. Last year, you were pulling for Clemson. You felt like they should have won. The revenge factor comes into this. 26 games in a row, it's going to catch up with you. But the bottom line is Clemson beat them on the field. You can throw penalties out. You can throw injuries out. All that stuff is so big a part of the game, it's not even funny. By the way, how many times have injury happened to somebody, Brandon, and they put somebody in the game and they played better than the guy they took the place for? You ever heard of a guy named Geis at LSU?
Yep.
You think you missed a lot when Fournette went out?
No,
really?
No, not at all.
Really? I don't think so. All right, we got to take a break. We'll get to politics. We got a lot of stuff to cover. By the way, you're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. I have fun on every day on every subject.
I got a new one I got to tell you, by the way.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Going in directions. I don't even know where we're going. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program. The guy called and made a comment. You know, Brandon, we were talking about I pull for the SEC. He said, well, pulling for Alabama because they're in the SEC is like pulling for the devil because he's in the Bible. Well, how about this one? I get a call from somebody without mentioning his name. He said, pulling for a team because they're in the SEC. That's like voting for Scott Angel because he's a Republican. I can't help it. You can't make this stuff up. People are funny. Woo, man. I'll tell you what. Hard to believe. 844-766-6607. Hey, Brandon, the Attorney General, I think that starts today. Is that not started yet? We don't have Fox on there right now, do we? I thought they were. I thought they were starting that this morning, and maybe they're doing it a little later to do.
There you go.
Yeah, this confirmation here is rocking and rolling. By the way, I hadn't seen anything yet on it. But it's going to be a shame what they're going to try to do to Jeff Sessions. And the reason I say try is they're not going to succeed as long as the Republicans don't wimp out. Now, I was reading an article today. They worried about people like John McCain, Lindsey Graham, these people that hated Trump to no end. Jeff Sessions, Senator Sessions, is a pretty tough guy. But the Democrats are going to play their normal, we're going to hate you with race. The man's done nothing wrong. You got to go back 30 years where you made a comment. Stuff, just crazy stuff that's taking place. Matter of fact, let me tell you what the Democrats have pulled. They are going to let one of their own, who probably will run for the presidential nominee next time for the Democrat Party, Cory Booker, Democrat Senator Cory Booker. He is set, which never happened before. He sits in the Senate with Sessions. And, Brandon, we probably ought to put this on.
Yeah, I was about to say, we can do a live look-in.
Let's do a live look-in first.
Fund for victim services.
This is Dianne Feinstein, by the way.
From California.
Yes.
She's nut, too.
Part of that fund contains up to $30 million for health care or medical items or services to trafficking victims. These funds are subject to the Hyde Amendment, which says no appropriated funding can be used to pay for abortion. However, the Hyde Amendment does not apply in cases of rape. On the Senate floor, Senator Cornyn discussed the Hyde language and said, and I quote, "Everyone knows the Hyde Amendment language contains an exception for rape and health of the mother. So under this act, these limitations on spending wouldn't have anything to do with the services available to help those victims of human trafficking. In short, Senator Cornyn asserted that the Hyde Amendment, which contains an exception for rape, would not affect the availability of services for these victims. The Domestic Trafficking Victims Fund will be under the jurisdiction of the Department of Justice. Here's the question. Will you ensure that these grant funds are not denied to service providers who will assist victims of human trafficking in obtaining comprehensive services they need, including abortion, if that is what is required for a young girl impregnated during this horrific abuse?
Senator Feinstein, I appreciate that question, and I do appreciate the fact that our country has been talking and I believe taking action for a number of years to deal with sex trafficking more effectively. I don't know that we've reached the level of actual effectiveness we need to, but Congress and you and others have been very, very outspoken about this, and there are all kinds of great citizens groups that have focused on it. So it's a very important issue. I was not aware of how the language for this grant program has been established. I do appreciate your concerns on it. It's a matter that I have not thought through, but ultimately it's a matter for this United States Congress, not so much a matter for the Attorney General. We need to put our money out to assist in this activity according to the rules established by the Congress.
Well, I'm delighted that Senator Cornyn is here. I quoted him directly from the floor that the Hyde Amendment would not prevent the distribution of these funds. And so I hope you would agree to that.
That's a good answer.
And that's certainly most important to me because Congress has spoken and the bill is law.
I understand that, and we would follow the law.
That's all they had to say. That's all they had to say.
As you know, the Constitution also protects a woman's right to have access to health care and determine whether to terminate her pregnancy.
Killing a baby is not health care,
in consultation with her family and her doctor. I'm old enough
trying to set him up.
remember what it was like before.
Killing a baby is not health care.
And thereafter, in the early 1960s, I actually sentenced women in California convicted of felony abortion to state prison for maximum sentences of up to 10 years, and they still went back to it because the need was so great. So was the morbidity, and so was the mortality. This right, passed now by the Constitution, as recognized in Roe, Planned Parenthood v. Casey, and the Supreme Court's recent decision in Whole Women's Health and Helterstedt. In fact, the court recently struck down onerous regulations imposed by Texas on women's health clinics.
The court also says
you have
anybody can get married.
referred to Roe v. Wade as, quote, one of the worst, colossally erroneous Supreme Court decisions of all time.
It was.
End quote.
It was.
Is that still your view?
Yes.
It is.
Thank you.
I believe it's it violated the Constitution.
Yes.
And really attempted to set policy and not follow law.
Yes.
It is the law of the land. It has been so established and settled for quite a long time.
Let's have the vote.
It deserves respect, and I would respect it and follow it.
Let's have the vote.
On November 14, 2016, appearing on the TV show 60 Minutes, the President-elect said that the issue of same-sex marriage was, quote, already settled. It's law. It was settled in the Supreme Court. It's done, and I'm fine with that. Do you agree that the issue of same-sex marriage is settled law?
Supreme Court has ruled on that. The dissents dissented vigorously, but it was 5-4, and 5 justices on the Supreme Court, the majority of the court, has established the definition of marriage for the entire United States of America, and I will follow that decision.
Here's another question. If you believe same-sex marriage is settled law, but a woman's right to choose is not, what is the difference?
Well, I haven't said that the woman's right to choose or the Roe versus Wade and its progeny is not the law of the land or not clear today. So I would follow that law.
Thank you.
You don't have to
I'd
answer
like to
anything.
ask one question based on...
Go ahead. He doesn't have to look. It's all set up. They're going to vote for him. They hadn't started the racism yet. Just because the courts said that marriage definition has changed, it's never changed. It's still one man and one woman. It doesn't matter what man says, how many laws they change. We've been killing babies for so long. We're sitting there. This lady right here, Dianne Feinstein, has been pushing this immoral practice of killing children and calling it health care. You notice how she just, well, this is health care. This is health care. This is a right to choose. It's health care. No, it ain't. It's slaughtering of innocent children. If you notice, I couldn't be on that because I would tell the truth, even about the same-sex marriage thing. If the Supreme Court justice comes in and they change that, wait till they get to those people. Mm-hmm. The questions they're going to ask.
Well, but I believe what he did was he showed that he disagrees with the law, but that in his role as Attorney General, he has to follow the current law.
Well, he does have to follow the current law. You know, I mean, what are you going to do? He doesn't make law if he becomes Attorney General anymore. Mm-hmm. He's not a Supreme Court justice. Yeah. He doesn't get to make all them decisions anymore. You know, but they ought to ask him if you're going to prosecute Hillary Clinton. And I would just basically say, I don't know yet. I got to go wait and check. I got to go check and see what the facts are. But anyway, it's going to be on, and y'all can watch it. Brandon got it on Fox News. He's watching it right now. We're going to keep up with it. They'll have some blurbs and stuff that pop up from time to time, but the one that I'm amazed at is when they start doing a race card. That's coming too. And all the things the left like, which has destroyed this country, from telling people that they can do. I wonder if she's going to ask a bathroom question. You know, what if you feel like going?
Save that one for some of her colleagues.
You feel like a woman. I mean, if you feel like a woman, can you go in a deal? I mean, just saying. But it's going to get ugly. And Booker is the one I'm disappointed with. The Democrats are going to send a sitting United States senator to testify against Sessions, which is unprecedented. People don't do that. But on the left, where they're immoral, they lie, steal, cheat, they hold people into plantations called inner cities and tell people everything is good. Anyway, we'll play some more of that one in the second hour of the program. And there's now they're asking them about the Ku Klux Klan, so it's just amazing. Anyway, that's pretty interesting. All right, we'll take a break. We'll get some more of that field in here as well. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. And don't forget to check us out, Facebook, Moon Griffon. By the way, the thing we played yesterday with Kennedy, and Brandon, I want you to pull it up. We'll play it again. If you want to find it, go to my Facebook at Moon Griffon, friend page, and you'll see it on there about this lady Kennedy, who sums up Obama administration's 8 years in about 3 minutes. And by the way, he's speaking tonight. I promise you, I'm not watching it. He's going to talk about Obamacare, what he's done for the economy. He's not going to talk about the $10 trillion. He's not going to talk about the less jobs, the number of people not working, all that stuff. He's going to talk about how he saved us, and he didn't. $10 trillion in debt. I bet he never brings up debt. I mean, we could bring up what he said on debt. They say now, in barring an unexpected revelation, Democrats appear to lack the ammunition to stop Sessions. Now, you got to go through the process. And Brandon, with TV now, this is guy made for TV stuff now. People don't want to watch it. You know, used to, you didn't watch all that stuff. You read about it the next day, and it was ho-hum for the most part. Somebody told me they already had a couple of liberal loons thrown out of the hearing dressed up in Statue of Liberty costumes like they were going to a Halloween party, of course, screaming, "You ready? Racism." No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. There you go, folks. I mean, it's all they got. And they go find these people and they pay them to do this stuff. You tell him, girl. You go and tell him, girl. You tell him, girl. Golly. I mean, paid acts. I mean, gee whiz. Even Chris Coons, Democrat of Delaware, told CNN on Money, many areas where he votes and his record from civil liberties to liberal civil rights to torture to criminal justice reform and immigration are starkly different from my own, but if there's any really new information, it's hard to see how he loses. You know, and what they're trying to do with this, because this is made for TV. This is reality TV. That's all it is, reality TV. So you watch it, and the left will try to create as much friction as they possibly can. You realize they could never govern without being able to divide and conquer. They could never govern. That's the only thing in the playbook is divide and conquer. And that's what they're doing with Sessions. He's going to be confirmed unless somebody wimps out. You know, then he voted against the attorney general that Obama had as attorney general. So Obama has 10 days left, and of course he'll lie tonight if you want to watch. I'm startled. And then really, again, I told Brian I was startled, but I'm really not. Senator Booker, who's a
junior senator in New Jersey.
Yeah, and he's black. Mm-hmm. And so he is going to testify against Sessions.
We've seen consistently Senator Jeff Sessions voting against everything from the Matthew Shepard Act, voting against or speaking out against key ideals around the Voting Rights Act.
He's trying to be the next Barack Obama, which we don't need another Barack Obama ever to run this country. But he's trying to be the next Barack Obama. The Democrats don't know what to do because I don't think people are going to vote for somebody because they're black now. I think they're going to vote for somebody based on what they believe. And that's why Trump's in there. So Cory Booker, he said would be the first time in Senate history that a sitting senator would testify against another sitting senator in the cabinet during post-confirmation. And by the way, Brandon, what's funny about that is he's going to get this Senate committee gets a vote up and down. I mean, he has a say through the Senate committee, but that doesn't matter. Booker said the immense power of the Attorney General combined with the deeply troubling views of the nominee is a call to conscience. Oh, well, bring it on, brother. Lord have mercy. Sessions confirmation hearings, they started today already. And he said he's a 39-year-old U.S. attorney in Alabama. And the man, Brandon, Sessions is probably 70 almost. Okay, over 30 years you got to go back. He did not he was denied a federal judgeship because the Senate Judiciary Committee heard testimony during the hearing in March and May of 86, 30 years ago. Sessions had made racist remarks and called the NAACP and ACLU un-American. Folks, they all becoming, ACLU is un-American. The Eighth Civil Liberty Union is un-American. The NAACP is starting to be, for a while now, un-American. They're all about the cause, not about the country. And these little groups that are all about their cause and not about the country are problems. You know, NAACP is running ads on George Bush with a noose behind the white truck. And had nothing to do with Bush. Bush didn't kill anybody. This is the same thing in the playbook. And I think the American people are now going to finally go, you know what? I just can't believe the ignorance that comes out of that side. So it's kind of funny. Cory Booker, and by the way, this is a self-serving grab of the headlines for a guy that wants to run for president and win. And he can probably win the nomination in the Democrat Party because the Democratic Party is sold out to every group known to mankind. And that's what this is all about. He's trying to grab the spotlight. And that's all it is. It's not anything to do with stopping Sessions. Most of the stuff will be made up and lies anyway. It has nothing to do. Nothing to do with Sessions himself. Democrat Representative John Lewis. He's doing it for the cause, too. Another black civil rights icon, who, by the way, he represents, I want to say, Brandon, I think out of Detroit, Michigan. One of the poorest, most dilapidated places in the country, but he's going to be a multimillionaire and very wealthy. All the people he represented stayed poor, uneducated. He goes and runs back and forth. They keep him in office, and he does nothing to help those people, nothing. He'll be one of the ones testifying against Sessions as well. Although Lewis and Sessions were pictured holding hands during a march in Selma, Alabama in 2015, Brandon. That was the year Alabama won the national championship. Oh, that's right. I shouldn't have said that. Sessions has allies from his own party. And Tim Scott, Brandon, he's a black African-American Republican member. Releases
South Carolina.
Yes, supporting Sessions. Brandon, I could be wrong, but I think there's as many Republicans men, black Republicans, as they are black Democrats in the Senate. I might be wrong on that, but I think it's pretty close. So anyway, the race card continues. That's all they got. It's all that's in the playbook. That's all you're going to do. Bottom line is Sessions will be the attorney general unless they come up with something just unbelievably crazy, which they're going to try to do, by the way, because that's what you do. Al Sharpton, Big Al Sharpton, a guy wrong on most things. They were hoping to have 5,000 at the inauguration march. Okay, which Sharpton's trying to get a group. He's trying to draw 5,000, but it's not going to be that many. He wants the women's march to come with them, and they're not coming, Brandon, because they have a march already lined up for January 21st, a week later. So they're not coming. So he's not going to get that group. National Action Network, which is a civil rights nonprofit from Sharpton, started in 1991. Led almost exclusively by women of color. The Women's March expected to draw a diverse crowd, which would include much of the same black audience Sharpton has long dominated, and that's the key. It should be brainwashed, but dominated, brainwashed, what's the difference? So anyway, that's what's going on. This is going to be, you're going to read this on and on and on and on. And let me tell you something, folks. People have said stuff in the past. White people have. Black people have. And now we got to grab stuff somebody said 30, 35 years ago to try to stop somebody from getting in a position. Yet when Obama puts up somebody, they can be racial, they can be hateful, they can be ugly, they can be mean-spirited, but it's not a problem. Ain't that amazing? By the way, Brandon, if you're interested, tickets for Obama's free speech, they're reselling for $5,000 on eBay. I mean, people will pay money for anything. I mean, anything. Jeff Sessions. All right, I think, Brandon, I could be wrong. It's a couple of days. It's a couple of day hearing probably. I mean, you're not going to go the whole time, but I think this is they do a hearing, they do another hearing, they get everybody to get their point. I don't know if there's a time limit on it. But I'm expecting, you ready? I'm expecting a few Democrats to vote for him.
I wouldn't be surprised if a couple do.
No, it may be more than that. The people that work with him, they always liked him. And somebody, let me tell you something. In 2 years, you do realize in a congressional race, there's about 24 Democrats on the ballot in states that Trump won. And remember, these guys up here ain't doing things that better you and me and better the country. What they're doing is what's going to better themselves. So they got to be careful. If they felt like their state really was a Trump state, they got to be careful going against him. And these senators know that. Remember, they're going to vote what's best for them, not what's best for the country.
You said people like him. I mean, look at his face, and he just stopped smiling for a minute, but he just kind of has that look like, he's your grandfather, kind of reminds me a little bit of mine, stern, but a loving grandfather,
But he's not going to, what do you think he's going to do? How's he going to hurt somebody? He's not going to hurt anybody from that position. It's all made up. This is reality TV right here. You can watch it if you want to. All right, let's take a break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. The nuts will be out there as all these confirmation goes. I can't wait for Trump to be president, and he puts up his first Supreme Court nominee. That's when the fun's going to really start, folks, because they're going to go crazy. We'll take a break. We'll be back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show.